there's a number of leaders, and I'll just kind of start this out because we've been hearing it quite a bit, and you probably heard some of it too. Mm-hmm. There's a number of leaders within the profession that feel that there was a misrepresentation by Michael Jabbour when he suggested that he would be stepping down from the board immediately, and they feel like that didn't happen. Do you share that opinion? How do you feel about that?
Well, from what my understanding of it is that the elections typically happen in February, mm-hmm. annual elections in February, so he was stepping down as of February, and so I believe the dates were off by a week or two, but I think his intention was to step down, and he eventually ended up doing that. That being said, there needs to be a knowledge transfer and a smooth knowledge transfer, and I think Michael was trying to do that, and he's currently doing that now, because I'm finding this out as president, because the buck stops with me, that I am responsible for the organization, and I want to make sure that everything is running smoothly. And I think Michael was trying to do that, and he's doing it right now.
So he won't be stepping down from the board until the end of his one-year term?
Well, as the immediate past president, okay, yes, that would be true.
Okay.
Don, I have a couple of questions regarding Michael Jabbour's current role on the board.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about exactly what his role is as of now? You talked a little bit about him mm-hmm. coming on and staying as a past president. Can you talk a little bit about what his role is and whether he's involved still in numerous committees as he has been in the past?
Michael, as immediate past president, okay, he needs to ensure there's a certain amount of knowledge transfer that occurs, mm-hmm. particularly since it is unusual that there are that many new people on the board. Okay, so Michael, I asked Michael for his advice on certain things that I'm not particularly clear on. Okay, and he's been very, very helpful that way in providing a clean knowledge transfer, and we anticipate that to be over the period of the next quarter. Okay, so I know he would like to spend more time with his family and whatnot, mm-hmm. and so he's really looking forward to that, and he's been very helpful in helping me personally as well as the board making a smooth transition so there's not as much disruption in the organization.
The other question I wanted to ask you was, obviously you have an editor-in-chief for the American Acupuncturist Journal that has resigned recently. Mm-hmm. What are your plans to continue that journal, and where do you see that going now that you have lost both the associate editor and editor of that journal?
Okay, well the plan is to continue the journal, at least at this point, so I don't see why that should change. Mm-hmm. The journal does require a significant commitment of resources from the organization, both in time, money, and staff, so that's something that we have to weigh. But at this point, I don't see why the journal is not going to continue.
Who would captain that? Who would be the person that oversees the continuance of the journal? Who would be the person with their hands in it?
At this point, right now, that would be Michael. Okay, but that's a situation that could potentially be in flux. Is right now, since we had a departure of the major staff from the organization, again, all hands on deck. Mm-hmm. And so we all need to pitch in and basically move things forward. So right now, that's what all of us are doing. I'm wearing multiple hats. And this is my second job now. It's almost practically my primary job mm-hmm. right now. So again, so we're all pitching in on that.
In a lot of our reporting, we also found out that the source of a lot of discontent always went back to Michael Jabbour. Mm-hmm. Do you see Michael Jabbour being part of this new strategy that you have for AAAOM moving forward? Or do you see him eventually resigning, and where do you see that at this point?
Michael is basically, he's taking a much lesser role in the organization, mm-hmm. and he's focusing on, and I want him to focus on these areas where he's good and he feels passionate about. As I've discussed before, all the people I've talked to, without exception, really passionate, bright people. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I want them to be happy and to focus on the things they like to do. Okay, so what I'm doing with the people that are involved in my own organization is getting them to focus in those particular ways. But eventually, and certainly I can't speak for him that way, but it's certainly his role has become a bit more diminished, and I think he'd like to get and spend more time with his practice and family, and that's certainly I think I'll be doing that in a year or two. But he is involved in the organization to a certain degree, but that role is diminishing as time goes on.
Do you think that his resignation would improve the negotiations with the CSA?
Well, that's really a tough question. Okay, there are certainly a number of people that are not satisfied with how he's led the organization, and I'm sure there'll be people that are not satisfied while I'm running the organization. You can't run an organization by trying to make everyone happy, because you won't make anybody happy. So you really have to run an organization by principle. And I've talked to a number of the leadership, and I just tell them, look, I will hear you out, and I'll report back to the board, and I'm going to try to make the best decision based on certain principles. And there's no assurance that I will make anyone happy but myself. But I know I will rest good at night because I'm true to myself. And that's certainly part of the whole servant leadership thing, is that, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, that all the boards I've been on, I've been asked to be on. This is not something that I seek for prestige, visibility, power, control, any of those things. I seek it, and I seek it, but I've asked and I serve because I want to basically serve the profession. And so that is certainly the what I call the mantra, the attitude of the new board and the organization.
If you believed that it would enhance the chances of the IIIOM remaining the National Association for the Profession, would you ask for Michael Jabbour's resignation?
Again, another tough question that I would ask. I would certainly think that for myself, if I was in that position and I felt that it would improve the profession, then I would step down. So I certainly can't speak for him that way, but that would certainly be the position I would personally take. Okay, and that's a decision that we really actually haven't discussed. Okay, but certainly on a personal level, for the good of the profession, if I felt that my being not in this particular position would be beneficial for the organization overall, as well as profession, then I would step down.
Or would you ask for his?
At this point, it's not my position to ask for it. That would have to be the entire board's position on that. Okay, I tend to be a person that, again, I tend to be very understanding and compassionate about that. And so I like to see people doing what they do best. And Michael is very talented and he's very bright. And I would not like to lose that particular talent. And I would like it to be focused in an area where he's very passionate and very strong about. Okay. And I feel that way about a lot of the people that are involved in the CSA, for example. Again, really bright, passionate people. I would love for them to join me and basically focus their energies on doing things more positively.